Hi, I want to show you a web page I created that lets you compare different chainring and cassette combinations. So you could compare a 3x9 to a 2x10 to a 1x11 and see which was bigger. So if you go to my website, which is www.berkshiresports.org, and click on bicycling and bicycle gear ratio / inches calculator, this will let you do that. And some people like gear inches, which is the classic number everybody uses, but I kind of prefer development, but I'm going to show this whole demonstration in gear inches. Development is the actual distance you would travel in one revolution of your cranks. I used to have a 26-inch wheeled bike with 2.1-inch tires, and it had 3 chain rings. And the 3 chain rings were 24, 32, 42. If you wanted to change that to different numbers, you could do that, and it will automatically calculate down here different values. But I'll go back to 24, that. And it was a 9-speed 1134. And last year I went to a 29er, because the wheel size matters, with also 2.1-inch tires. It had 2 chain rings, and they were 2438, and it was a 10-speed 1136. And it seemed like my lowest gear was harder than on my old bike. So my old bike had a lowest gear of 18 gear inches. My new bike was 19 gear inches, so not a huge difference. If I go to development, that means it went 58 inches in one revolution of the pedals as opposed to 60 inches for my new bike. Not a big difference, but that's how this works. This year I'm thinking of getting a 27.5-inch wheeled bike with, I'm not sure what size tires come on it, but let's stay with 2.1. And it's only going to have 1 chain ring, and it's going to be an 11-speed, and I think it's 1132. No, it's something 42, so it must be 1042, and that will give me gear inches of 19. So it's going to be about exactly equivalent to the gearing that's on my 29er. Now, I am mostly concerned with my low gear and climbing, but other people might be concerned with their high gear, especially racers who might not want to spin out. So if you had a 2438 with a high gear of 29, 82 might be, a lot less for going fast. So what I do is I have an approximate max speed at 90 revolutions per minute, which in the case of a 30 with a 10, it would be 22 miles an hour. A 38 and a 11 would give you about 27 miles an hour. Also, I have something that computes not only the gear inches down here, but I'm computing the differences here. And when you have a 1x11, it's obviously going to be linear because there is no overlapping gears. When you have 2 chain rings, when you switch from your 2424 to your 3836, there's only a difference of 1 gear inch there. So those 2 gears are quite close together. And I'm also highlighting the ones that seem to be far apart. So when you go from 58 to 68, that's a jump of 10 teeth. And when you go from 68 to 84, that's a jump of 14, not teeth, gear inches. Let's see if distance-wise what that is. So when you switch from your 9th gear to your 10th gear, you're changing how far you're traveling with each pedal stroke by 31 inches. And same here, you're changing it by 42, which is getting kind of high. However, 14 to 12 to 10 is not a big difference in teeth. So anyway, I have a bunch of different typical gear combinations that you can choose from here. When you choose 1, 2, or 3, I'm just coming up with kind of a couple standard gear inch things here. You can change these. You can change these. So the last thing I'd like to show you is, if you were concerned with just one particular gear, it doesn't matter what you choose here. If you, say, had a 24 here, and you were only concerned with your lowest chain ring, and if it were a 42, how would that compare if you had a 24 here and a 40 here? So your lowest gear would be 49 in that case and 51 in that case. Let me go to gear inches. 16 and 16, or 49 inches and 51 inches. So this will also work with a road bike. So if you had a 700C road bike, 25C tire, and a 25C tire, you could compare a 34 compact crank 3450 to a 4252. And in days gone by, I might have had a 5-speed 1323, something like that. No, that's an 8-speed. If you did have a 14, you might have, you know what? Maybe I did have a 4252, 1428 in the old days. Now you might get a compact crank with an 10-speed cassette that might go from 11 to 28. So your low gear would be considerably lower with the compact crank, and your high gear would be even higher than in the old days when you had a 5214. This also gives you your, what are your duplicate gears. So hopefully you'll find this useful if you're either thinking about changing your cassettes or your chain rings, or comparing different bikes with different wheel sizes and different gearing. Thanks for watching.